All right. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Brachah Kodash. Give a double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace, love, and salutations to your hopeful elect that's been pushing the truth, okay? I'm Brother Zakaria, coming at you from the JMS Campbell in the church. And as you can see, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, that the whole world ignorantly called God and Jesus Christ, I'm back at it with another lesson, all right? His true names are Yahweh, while Yahweh Shah, again, okay? Now, in today's lesson, I know the other day, I just did a lesson on Daniel 7, 1 through 4, all right? And the last empire we touched up on was the lion, okay? Which represents the Assyrian. And then eventually we went into the Babylonian, taking over the Assyrians. Okay, so I'm gonna just start from 4, and we're gonna go all the way down to verse 5. We're gonna focus on verse 5 today, okay, and pull up some key points. All right. So this is Daniel 7 and 4. The first was like the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. All right, and remember in the last video, we looked this up. A lion with wings, okay, which is a griffin. All right, and the griffin, they used the griffin for the Assyrian Empire. All right, that was their symbol, so to speak. Okay, it says, I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and may stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given into it. All right. That wisdom within that man's heart, all right, to lead that army. And that man was Nebuchadnezzar II, all right, which led the Babylonian Empire to take control and to conquer the Assyrian Empire, okay? Now I'm going to continue on to verse 5. This is Daniel 7 and 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side. Now we're going to stop it right there. Now, the second beast is likened unto a bear, and that bear represents the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay. Now, the Medes was there first, but they got conquered by the Persians, and they was working in cahoots with one another. All right. So, with that being said, they joined forces, and the Persians just started conquering. Okay. The Persians, they was rich. The Persians, they was rich. They had the artillery. They had the military, and Nebuchadnezzar II, he led that army, man. He led that empire to conquer these things and to conquer those 3 ribs we're about to get into. Okay. Now, where it says, and it raised up itself on one side, that also represents the Persians being greater than the Medes. All right. So therefore, it's the Medo-Persian Empire. All right. Now, the Persians are the forefront, so to speak, that led that whole empire. Okay. Now where it says, and it had 3 ribs and the mouth of Slakia, and it had 3 ribs and the mouth of it between the teeth of it. All right. Those 3 ribs also represents 3 different kingdoms. All right. Small kingdoms at that time. Now look, I'm gonna go here, and this being one of them. Okay. The battle of Thimbra, if I'm saying that right. Okay. Now at this battle, this is the battle that they won, the Persians won to conquer Lydia. All right. Because when you go back to Daniel 7 in verse 5, it says, and another Slakia, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it had raised up itself on one side. All right. Which we already know that's the Persians prevailing over the Medes. Okay. And it had 3 ribs. Now, use your imagination. This is what helped me out. Imagine that actual bear and 3 individuals. All right, regular human beings, and each individual has what? Ribs. So imagine a bear actually devouring each human and taking a rib from them. All right, those 3 humans represents 3 different kingdoms. All right, and imagine that bear, which represents the Persians, devouring those humans and conquering. All right. You know, I know it sounds kind of, probably graphic, but, it's imagination, man. All right. Now it says, and it had 3 ribs and the mouth of it. Now, Lydia, again, is one of those ribs. All right. It says at this battle was the decisive battle and the war between Croesus, if I'm saying that right, of the Lydian kingdom and Cyrus the Great. Now, Cyrus the Great, he also was one of Persia's greatest kings. All right. As far as military, getting the minerals, the resources, and the riches, man. Okay. He was the person who actually led this empire. And I think this is Cyrus the Second. Let me see. Okay, yeah, Cyrus the Second of Persia. So yeah, man, because Cyrus is just a title, just like Pharaoh or any other, name out there that represents a king, so to speak. Like we have a president, okay? A president will be quote unquote king, so to speak. We already know that there's higher ups, but just a small example, man. All right, everything has a title. All right, you have the first president all the way up to now, man. All right, it's the same here. You had Cyrus, and you had Cyrus the Second, then Cyrus the Third. Okay, until the empire was translated into another empire or a greater empire, because we did read and bring out how the Lord, he controls the hearts of the kings. All right, and we brought out that Ecclesiastes, where, hey man, there's a time to be born, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up, which is planted. All right, so the Lord does all these things. All right, the higher powers are ordained of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shah, man. And that's in Romans the 13th chapter, I believe. Okay, so everything's been set up, man. And as you can see right here, you're seeing a kingdom winning a battle to overtake another kingdom, which is the Persians. All right, so Lydia is one of those ribs. Now I'm gonna go here. Let me see. This is also a great website, heritagehistory.com. All right, and as you can see right here, I highlighted these three ribs. I'm gonna just say that because these are the three ribs. All right, Lydia, Babylon, and Egypt. All right, we already know the Medes got taken over by the Persians. That's why we call them the Medo-Persian Empire. They in cahoots with one another. All right, and Scythia, but they were smaller than these three. Okay, now if you pull up a map, which I already have right here, so like if you pull up the map, okay, and you can see that Egypt, Lydia, and Babylon are eastward. All right, they conquered the east, man. All right, so the Persian Empire through Cyrus the Great, he conquered. Now, these three ribs had a major role because look at these large bodies of water. Also, all right, Egypt is right here at the Pison, which is today is the Red Sea. Okay, they was using this as a water wave. Okay, in a wave point, so to speak, for cattle, grain. All right, and military artillery, weapons, man. Iron around that time, copper, iron. Okay, so a whole bunch of minerals, man. So these bodies of water that these three had at the time, hey, they was getting business done. But when the Persians came in power, they was richer. Okay, they was greater, so they took control, man. And that's prophecy, man. Just like it's prophecy that America is going to be destroyed, man. And a lot of people don't believe us, but here it is in history. This is prophecy in the scripts, and it's right in front of you, man. The same thing is going to happen to Babylon the Great, which is America, according to the scripts, man. All right. Now let's go back. That was a matter of fact. Give me one sec. Bear with me. Let me see something. Give me 1 second. Read something. I read something before the lesson, man. It was I wouldn't say it's that important, but it was very edifying, I'm gonna say. And it actually explains how the Persians, they actually conquered all of the territories eastward. And that's what made me look up this map right here, just to better understand. Okay, eastward and then westward. Okay, and Salaki, I know in the earlier in the video I said eastward. Salaki, this is westward. So Salaki on that. This is westward. And this is eastward. But you can see, man, they had domination over these territories. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to Daniel 7, and it said, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it, And they said, thus until it arise, devour much flesh. So as you can see, according to this map right here, bring it back. The Persians, man, they was devouring, man. Okay, this was a great kingdom at the time. All right, it says, matter of fact, I'm gonna get it right here. Go back. It says Cyrus pursued him into Lydia, besieged the capital, and took the city by storm. Instead of killing Croesus, if I'm saying that right. However, Cyrus made him a principal minister. All right, to the south of Medes and Lydia lay the rich kingdom of Babylon. All right, so at the end of the day, man, this is all about riches, minerals, resources, okay, to empower or to better your empire, man. And that's what Cyrus was doing at the time, okay. And I mentioned the bodies of waters. Watch this. The principal city of which was protected by numerous walls and was built on either side of the Euphrates River, okay, since the place could not possibly be taken by assault. So they actually had to strategize because, again, like I said earlier, these different kingdoms, man, they had these bodies of water, man. And if your kingdom is surrounded by a body of water, it's kind of hard to get that kingdom, especially if you sit in the middle of the body of water with big old walls. Okay, you're gonna have to set up a strategy or a plan to get through the water, to get through the walls, and to actually take down that specific kingdom, man. All right, and you gotta understand they also had those big old elephants. Like if you see the movie 300, just for an example, they had those elephants, all those long iron spears, okay, those long iron arrows. They would lit the arrows on fire, put poison at the end of the arrows, okay. They had the cannonballs at the time, okay. They had the big bad boy that breaks down walls, okay. But they has to actually strategize to get over some of these waters, man, okay. Now I'm gonna go back. It says, since the place could not possibly be taken by assault, Cyrus a channel to route the river around the city, and when the river lowered, his army marched up through the dry riverbed, the final companion of Cyrus, all right, the invasion of Scythia, in which he was killed, all right. So yes, man, just a quick little history on a little about the Persians and their king Cyrus, all right. And let you know how important these rivers are too. You got the Euphrates River, okay, which is still the Euphrates River today. And of course, if the Babylonians had the Euphrates River, of course, Babylon had the Tigris River, which is Ezekiel, if I'm saying that right, or Ezekiel, the Ezekiel River in the scripts, Genesis the 2nd chapter. And then, as you can see on this map too, like I said earlier, you got Pison, okay, and then you have the Nile River right here, which is the Gihon, okay. Then you got Pison, then you had Ezekiel, and then the Euphrates River, okay. So again, these specific kingdoms, they was fighting over these big masses of water, man. They was fighting over these different land masses that had different minerals and resources, okay. Now we're going to end it off by going back. Give me one sec. I'm going to just read Daniel 7:5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, all right? And that side is being raised up is the Persians, okay? They was being risen up over the Medes, all right? The Medo-Persian Empire. And it had 3 ribs, which is Lydia, all right, Egypt, and Babylon, okay? And the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said, thus unto it arise, devour much flesh. So Lord willing, this Daniel 7:5 was edifying, okay, for anyone who come across this video. Now I'm gonna close out by giving all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Give it up honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And peace, love, and salutations to your hopeful elect that's been pushing the truth, okay? With that, shalom.